recruited for tonight's panel people who have changed the game. Yes, we have the amazing Josh Chambers and Corbin on here. We're going to be talking about how did you go from 0 to 2 million in just 2 years, guys. Great to have you on here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so I know you recently have been on the Transformational Tuesday series on the Mark Harvey YouTube channel. If anybody's not seen that, you want to go ahead and go over to the YouTube channel and see these guys' story on there. But in this episode, we want to be talking about all the ins and outs, the twists and turns, the ups and downs, and how you have gone from working full-time jobs in long careers. Like you guys had long careers, right?
Well, Corbin's career was longer than mine. I mean, I started as young as I could and finished as quick as I could as well.
Yeah, so this is a big thing. So give us a comment. Let us know you're watching live. Put #live. And if you're watching this on the replay, put #replay. Let us know any questions you might have. If you're just starting out, if you need to raise money, if you need to do anything like what these guys have done, which is built this multi-million-pound portfolio, raised over £1.2 million in private investor finance. And both of them have quit their job. And now you full-time in property, both of you?
Both of us, yeah. I'm 1 year in now, and Corbin's can't be far off a year now.
I think I left May this year, so coming up sort of 6-7 months.
Wow, brilliant. And now we're cooking. Yeah, so let's just give people a little bit of background. So just bring up to speed, Josh. Who was Josh growing up, and what were you doing before this, and how did you get into this?
Yeah, so I mean, during school, I was a bit of a nightmare. I really struggled with concentration and really putting my focus into these specific subjects. And throughout school, I think I finished school with 1 GCSE, and I thought my whole world was over because you're always told that GCSEs they create your future. But so I left school with my 1 GCSE and decided that the only option I could really take was a trade. So I went to college and learned to weld, which was like following in my family footsteps. My dad's a welder, brother's a welder, sister's boyfriend's a welder. So it was quite fitting and quite a easy trade for me to sort of stumble into. So I studied there for 2 years, and then I got a job working on site with my old man, and I done welding for 7 years, built up a good bit of capital, bought my first buy-to-let property with my own money. And I was then looking for a way that I could speed up the process because I knew there would be a quicker way, but I didn't realize what that way was until I started investing a bit into myself, like my own development, learned about raising finance, and that sort of got me into where I am now. But yeah, 7 years of a welder, 1 GCSE, and a portfolio of £2 million.
Wow, what a journey. We're going to get into that journey. So if you guys, anybody's watching this and you got any questions of what happened to these guys along the way, then do start asking away because we'll get to your questions very soon. So Corbin, tell us, what was it like for you? What's it like for you growing up, and how did you get to this point now?
Yeah, so I'm slightly older than Josh. I know I may not look it, but I am. But yeah, I mean, I started in education, high school, college. I did mechanics at college, and because I wanted to be a part of like a race team, mechanics or pit lane or pit crew. I wanted to travel the world with a race team, and that was sort of the dream when I was younger. Once I'd done it 2 years at college, I thought, it's not really for me. So I worked at Tesco's for 2 years in my last year of college, and then a year after college, fell into an apprenticeship with Virgin Media and happened to be there 13 years until May this year. Done a couple of different roles in that. So like Josh, I was just saving from a teenager because when we was living at home with my siblings, mum, she was just like, look, just make sure you're saving up. So I've always had that mindset to like save. So once I managed to get on a property ladder, and I was thinking, right, let me start saving again, try and get the next property in the portfolio. But then again, the same as Josh, I was thinking there's got to be a quicker way. Then again, I invested in myself, joined the Real Life Tribe, and that just, sped up my progress in property. And then 2 years on, got a business partner in Josh. Our business is sort of flowing really good. Had a lot of obstacles this year, but yeah, so 2 years on, and obviously got a portfolio of around 2 million, and sort of just looking forward to next year now, just to take what we've had, what the experience that we've gained, I think in 2023 alone. I think we're just going to sort of just hit the ground running in 2024, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, just between you guys. So, well, actually, before I go to that, who's up for winning some goodies? If you're watching this live, you can win some goodies. We're going to give out some more Real Life merchandise. So, what happens is you hit the share button to this one on whatever feed you're watching this on. Hit the share button and tag at least 10 other people. And then our team, they go and look for the people that did that. And you go in a prize draw. We're going to send you some stuff. Hopefully, it'll reach you in time for Christmas. Although, wow, it's literally next week, isn't it? Yeah. So now a question to both of you. So it doesn't matter who answers first, but just tell us, what are some of the strategies or some of the projects you guys have done?
Our main strategy together, we decided the best one would be HMOs. We're both very similar in the sense that cash flow is big for us, as opposed to having like big lumps of money land. So HMOs are our main one, but we also both have experience in buy-to-lets and flips. But yeah, we invest in the Midlands and northeast of England on our HMOs, and then flips are just about anywhere. Same with the buy-to-lets. I have one in my hometown in Suffolk, and I know Corbin's, I think yours are in the northeast as well. But yeah, we're heavily on HMOs at the moment.
Yeah, buy-to-lets are sort of, northeast at the minute. I know that again in the new year, I think from the experience we've gained, we want to maybe scale up, whether that's bigger size HMOs, because we've got a couple of 7 beds, 6 beds. So whether it's 10 plus beds or, even bigger than that, or potentially commercial to resi, which are slightly larger buildings in themselves, and whether that's, creating apartments or things like that. So yeah, potentially looking at scaling up, trying different and new strategies that we haven't sort of yet tackled. So we'll be looking into that as well.
Nice, love it. And we have another famous HMO Real Life Tribe member, goes by the name of HMO Damo. I think you might remember this guy.
HMO Damo.
Made famous at the Real Life Awards. But Damo, you weren't there, so we want to know what it was all about. But if you want to know, we can send it to you. Yeah, so what was this whole thing like? You want to do it quicker? Was that because you guys wanted to quit your jobs, right? You made that very clear. So what is it that you've seen, or what did you come across that made you think it can be done quicker?
Yes. So for me, I knew it needed to be done quicker. Like I think with the welding was good money, but very poor quality lifestyle. It was, I used to go away for 12 days a week, and I'd get 2 days home and then go and do it all again on 12-hour shifts. So I knew that wasn't going to be sustainable for like my lifestyle. So to find a new way was important for me to escape this career I was in. And I would see a lot of people on Instagram mainly at the time, and I was following all people within property and trying to connect with as many people as I can. And a lot of them would mention about raising finance, because I was asking how the deals are funded, because a lot of them were a little bit older than me, like very similar ages. And I'm thinking, how are they affording to purchase these massive properties? So through that is when I stumbled across raising finance, and I sort of half understood how it worked. I was always trying to dig a bit more in, but lacked confidence at first, which is then when I realized that I needed to raise finance, but I also need to raise my confidence levels, which is then when, at that point was when I got a property coach from Real Life, Lewis Perrin, who helped me excel in like my own personal growth. And just through doing that has helped me personally raise a lot of money. But it all stemmed from Instagram at first, just connecting, understanding how people are funding the deals, and then the personal development came next to that.
So did you see the route to like doing it faster was being able to raise the finance, or like hook into this strategy you kept hearing about?
Yeah, like my first ever broker told me the way that it was done is you buy your property with money that you save up, and then you rent it out, and then you save up all again. But the whole idea is the second time's going to be quicker because you're putting extra money away. You buy a second one, and then it's a rinse and repeat. And I looked at it, and it was going to take me so many years to get to where I needed to be. And then through having coaching with Lewis and being part of the tribe, I realized that raising money was going to be the quickest way for us to be able to scale.
Yeah, I love it. So the first part came, which was like now knowing there was a different way and knowing what to do. We'll come back to that second part. But Corbin, I want to just come to you and I want to hear from you. Like, what was it that you clicked onto? Was it a similar thing, or what was your version?
Yeah, I think for me, and I've mentioned this to you before, Mark, I think it was during lockdown. I believe probably the majority of new businesses were created in lockdown when people don't have anything else to do apart from think about other things to do. But for me, the last sort of 5 years or so in my corporate job at Virgin Media, I subconsciously had a feeling like this world wasn't for me. Like I know I needed to get my teeth into creating something, building something. I just didn't know what it was. And then through lockdown, Josh mentioned Lewis Perrin, who's a school friend of mine as well. And he's also my mindset coach. And he was doing Facebook Lives with barn conversion. And I remember just being hooked on that, waiting for the next update, the next Facebook Live. Like, right, I've got the windows in. Right, the builders have done this, because I love like a transformation myself. So I found myself hooked on that. Towards the end of the year, I had a conversation with one of my good friends, and then he come out of the blue and said, "Oh, do you know what I've been thinking of getting into?" And he was like, "Property investment." And I was like, light bulb moment. I knew exactly who to ring. I rung Lewis. He said, "Right, Real Life, yourself, Mark, was hosting it, a 3-day event online." And I was hesitant at first, made the leap to jump on that 3-day sort of course or workshop thing. And at the end of the 3 days, I rang up Lewis and said, "Right, I want to be a part of this property group and I want to coach." And then 2 years on, here I am. And the same as Josh, I always sing the praises of the Real Life group and this community that we're a part of, because it's anyone can create a community and in like a mentor environment where you just say, right, if this is your problem, do X, Y, Z. Whereas this is where we get coached rather than just mentored. It's building us up and building our self-sufficiency up to be able to work through things ourselves, and be fully aware of how to approach new obstacles, hard people. Like, you're going to be dealing with lenders, power teams, etc. So I myself went through a whole lot of self-growth. I think the first 7 or 8 months of my property journey wasn't even property, it was myself, self-growth and all of that, and just trying to and getting my mindset aligned where it should be. And I say now that I needed to go through that, because once I did and I sort of come out the other side, that's when I then joined up with Josh and everything just started snowballing. Results started coming in and I was just like, it just sort of propelled me forward. And I think that's the main thing that some people might miss or try and avoid, is that you've got to go through all that hard stuff at the beginning to be able to set yourself up. And if you haven't got the self-sufficiency and sort of the awareness to be able to, if a tough decision comes up, if you don't know how to get into the right mindset to be able to deal with it, that's where you will struggle. And Josh and I joining forces, and we're like very much the same person. Like a hard decision will come up and we're so calm, it's ridiculous. We'll just be like, right, yeah, this is a problem. What's your opinions? Right, I'll say mine. He'll say his, and we'll be like, okay, should we do this? Cool, done. Like and that's like some of the hardest obstacles and decisions we've had to make that we've never come across before, but we've been able to make it seamlessly. So yeah, just being a part of the community has helped us and propelled us to get to where we are now.
That's why people freak out. People freak out, you know, everyone knows, like, it's not difficult to find out what to do. Oh, okay, you raise money. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Oh, okay, you buy it and you sell it for more, or you buy it, you convert it and refinance it. I mean, basically, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, but then when things go wrong, or then actually doing and completing on now what you know, that's the big difference. And you just reminded me of a video. Yeah, I'll put this in the videos. We're going to be doing a video on this, because one of the biggest reasons why people fail refurbishing properties, yeah, in whatever way, refurbishing, converting, is because they never refurbished their mind. Yeah, and like this is a big misunderstood thing, or it's not been given enough attention. Everyone's too fixated on the facts and the figures, and there's loads of mentors, mentor, whatever it is out there that like will give you the straight and narrow. Here's the steps, here's how to do it, and all the rest of it. But that simply is just not enough, and why the success rate is so low. Yeah, other than what you've already said, yeah, and we said before, Josh, you give us the, well, that's what to do side. Like, what would you say is really the difference that's enabled you to get these results? What's kept you in the game? Because actually, I'll tell you something. This is interesting, Josh. You told me this because you was a part of Real Life, and then you spent some time away, right? Because we were the first community you ever came across. So
Yes.
I think then you went and flew out of the nest for a little bit, but then you came back. So like, what was going on through your mind, and like, what did you get, and then what did you not get from somewhere else for you to want to, you know, come back? Like, what really made the difference for you?
It's not so much I didn't go to like another group, but I just sort of distanced myself on social media from like the Real Life group. And then it was, I forget what it was now. I think I'd done an event with Real Life, another one, and it just reminded me of the togetherness that everyone has here. And it's very much like a family. Whereas I think with all the other groups, like your progressives and all the other ones, it's sort of every man for themselves. No one's there to support you. And I feel like you can put a problem in this group, or you can go and just meet someone and go share your problems, and everyone's going to be there to help give you a solution. And I don't feel like you get that with any other group that I've seen. And also I think that business and property, it can be a very lonely world when you're on your own. I mean, I live, God knows, hours away from Corbin and anyone else. And at times it's just you. But then I find with the Real Life group, it's almost as though, although you're not really near anyone, you still feel connected with the whole group, and everyone's so supportive. I mean, we done the awards, was it last week? And everyone's just, there's people there I've never spoke to before, but then you speak to them and it's like you've known them for years. And I don't really know where else you get that from, which is why I'm back.
Yeah, but I tell you what, another thing as well, because you guys say, you know, it's great, you guys can jump on the phone. There's a saying that people use. They say, oh, I want to be around like-minded people. Now, for me, I think that's a massive trap. Yeah, because like-minded people, when everything's going well, yeah, okay, fine. Everyone's like-minded, everyone's loving it. Yeah, but when everything's not going so well, then everyone's like blaming it because it's like-minded. It's like, oh, you know, everything's not going well. You know, and they just focus on what's not going well. I think what you guys have established is you now know in your partnership, you're with someone who's trained. Yeah, and it's about being around other people who are trained, because when something is going wrong, you know how to get someone out of their funk and get them onto the path to positivity again. Because how do you want to sort your problem out? From whinging and complaining about it, or getting positive and finding, you know, ways to come through it? So Corbin, what would you say, you know, it's like not just being around Josh, but other trained people? Like, where has that really kind of helped you excel?
Yeah, definitely. I said, just to touch on what you just said there, Mark, with regards to like, because Josh and I know that we're dealing with each other who are like trained people, and in the community, we know that the majority of people are being coached and trained, etc. But it's like sometimes, like Josh and I, like I remember that vividly. There was a week this year that we had like a week that everything was going right. Then the following week, everything was going wrong. And it was funny enough, I think I'd done one of the events, the Discover Your True Potential. So I think it was probably last year then. And I remember the week, and it must have got to about Wednesday or Thursday, and I remember messaging Josh and I was like, look, there's something out of alignment. And obviously, you know, on that side of things, I was never sort of open to it. Not open, but I wasn't made aware of it. You know, when you got like, you know, the spiritual, emotional, mental, etc., like those levels. And I just said to Josh, like, something's out of alignment, because like every day we've got something else, someone else is texting us, or a builder or someone that's like, oh, this is now gone wrong, you're gonna have to pay for this or whatever. Decisions just weren't going our way. So then we just quickly sat down and was like, right, how are you feeling? How am I feeling? Like, what are we both doing in our lives that is off? And then I forgot what that was, but we managed to say that, right, let's do X, Y, Z, and then we sort of managed to get back on track. But and again, it goes back to, like, you know, being coached or being trained to be aware of that, because a lot of people, if they're not sort of trained or just not aware of it, they could be like, oh, they're the sorts of people that might be like, oh, everything bad happens to me, I've just got bad luck. But then whereas we know that it's not necessarily bad luck, it's a law of attraction, really. So it was something that we was doing that wasn't in line with ourselves, which is why these bad things or like negative things were coming in. But yeah, again, I sing the praises of this community, because like Josh touched on, you've got other Facebook groups, and even today I saw comments that literally someone was honestly and just innocently, just put a status, just asking for advice, and I think it was a loft conversion. But then some of the comments that came in, I think one guy must have commented on about 20 other people's comments off the back of it, just to put his point across. But he was just like, you're just sort of plucking a price out of thin air, when he could have just been like, oh, it might be in a ballpark figure. But again, you never get that, any animosity or any negativity in this group. Like, everyone wants everyone else to succeed. And it's weird because, like, say for example, if they weren't doing as much, or if they thought, oh, like they're succeeding, it will be more that we would question ourselves as to why we're not doing as well, or as well as we know we should be. And then it'll be like, right, I need to look at myself. What am I not doing to gain some traction and be successful, rather than just hating on someone because they are being successful, or they're posting, oh, I achieved this or I achieved that. So it's definitely the community and what you've created, I think, is just why everyone, or the majority of people at least, 99% of people in the group are successful, because it's that mindset. They want people to win. They want to work hard to win as well, and to put their achievements out there. And it's just honesty. I think it's honesty. A lot of people in other groups can hide good or bad things. We're quite transparent, Josh and I, in our content. Like, when bad things happen, we'll post about it, because a lot of the time you don't hear about all the bad things and all the stuff behind closed doors that goes into these achievements. But we like to be transparent with our people. But yeah, I've loved every minute of being a part of this group. It's made me more confident. It's made me a better person. And I think if I didn't have that support, because we can just go to someone or message or ring them and be like, and ask them a question, we'll get some sort of advice to help us. And there's never any like reluctancy or hesitancy to try and reach out to someone. And I think that is what breeds success amongst everyone. So I think that's the key behind this group.
Yeah, and he ain't lying either. Yeah.
No, he's not. He's not.
No.
So Lewis, yeah, great member of this community. You're here from the beginning. So you're dead right about, like, I think there's a lot of times people out there, they're wanting to prove each other wrong, or like out knowledge each other, out tech each other, like, oh, I know this, I know it, like that. Well, I think as you were just saying it, actually just came to us like, yeah, so we're actually always trying to prove each other right. Like, yes, we will get that valuation in that area, where everyone else is like, you won't get it, it's not going to happen, there's a ceiling, I've been investing here 20 years. I mean, how many bloody times I've heard these sayings, like, you won't get this, you won't get it, or that this is like not a good strategy, you're leveraging too high and all the rest of it. That's just trying to prove to somebody wrong. But actually, what about proving someone right? What if someone wants to leverage it high because they want to pull the capital out? They're not bothered about the cash flow. Yeah. What about if someone don't want to leverage so high because they are bothered about the cash flow, so they won't take as much money? You see, people always come to me and they say, "Oh, Mark, what's the best strategy? Should I do SA? Should I HMO or whatever?" I can't answer that, because it's the strategy the strategy is the third thing in the list, right? First you got to find out, well, what's the mission there, what we're doing, and then set some milestone goals and use the strategy that will give you the maximum impact to get to those goals. Which is like not many people do it that way. And by the way, you always got to review that because you guys are going into another phase now. We're going, to go from, like my book says, we sold out. I don't have any. But my book says going from 0 to 2 million to 10 million. We don't go to 1 million even. You guys just go straight to 2. Because by the time the first couple of projects are there, that's already at 1 million. You already got the next projects happening. Because we taught and teach you like the multi-strategy and to hedge. You can't just do one deal. One deal is more risky. But so now the rules to go from 0 to 2 million, there's one set of rules, but now to go to 2 to 10 million, different set of rules, different level of systemization, different level of leadership. But one of the things you mentioned, which is great, is actually, I look at myself rather than I look at the other person and blame and point the finger. So that is brilliant. So let's touch on some of the challenges that you have had. Let's talk about some of these HMOs. But tell me, like, how have you guys come up with the design aspects? How have you guys pulled your team together to make sure that you're always, victorious when it comes to the deals?
So, well, our first team we put together in the Northeast was, to be honest, it's a disaster. And we're still suffering from the problems that we're getting from it. And it all came from a project manager that we thought, I won't put names in there, but we thought we could trust. And it seemed like he had a good reputation on social media. And this is one of the biggest lessons we've learned. But we trusted him, believed every word he was saying. And in the end, refurb costs have came in a lot higher than what we initially expected. The spec wasn't to the spec we wanted to work to. We pride ourselves in a high spec, whereas he was doesn't take a great deal of pride in his work, in my opinion.
Basic, wasn't it?
It was very basic, and that doesn't align with our mission. And I think that's where we went wrong from the start. We were asking him very professional questions instead of questions that would have aligned us. So he didn't really know what our expectations were, how we work, and we didn't really know his. And so we've clashed a lot on the projects up north, and we've had to bring in external teams, interior designers and stuff, just that aligned with us so we could actually produce a spec. And granted, it's cost us a lot more money than we initially anticipated, but we're happy with the product that we've got now. Whereas where he was it felt so cheap and sort of half-assed, which we certainly don't do that. We've now got a product we're happy with, but that's certainly probably one of the biggest hurdles we've had, having to deal with a project manager that we didn't align with. And we've got a team in the Midlands, and they're absolutely fantastic. There's full alignment. We're all on the same wavelength with the product we want to produce. And I mean, the Midlands has been
trained people,
definitely. Whereas certainly in the Northeast, I don't like to bitch too much, but he certainly wasn't trained, in my opinion. But we've had all sorts of problems, hurdles that have come across. That's just one of them. We've recently had rats in one of our HMOs, a massive infestation. We've just recently had a down valuation, which we're now looking to resolve. I didn't realize how many problems we were going to have, because a lot of people, you don't see it on social media so much. And we have been guilty before of not being fully transparent with stuff that's going on. And we've decided now that transparency is the best way to go. But there's so many problems that we've come across. But I think with the way me and Corbin work, we are trained, if you like. but we're also on the same level. Like our personality traits are very similar. So when we do have problems, we deal with them in the same way, and there's no stress. Like I don't think we've ever stressed over any problem. The amount we've had, and there's no stress. It's just sit down, get on a call, and find a solution. And it seems to work perfectly with us. I mean, I'd done a JV before I met Corbin, and we didn't align as people. We had a call and everything sounded good for the project to work. And then once we realized, we came across our first hurdle, and it was just an absolute disaster. And we called the JV off in the end because there was just no alignment. Whereas with myself and Corbin, it's the way you handle problems, like a big thing in a business, because we don't argue, we don't stress. It's a nice.
You know what I think, Chris? You guys are really, this is really good feedback, because obviously what's working, we want to do more of, right? And I think, you know what I think about the training, and we have a lot of facilitation, right? Because, Corbin, you talked about there's a difference between a mentor and a coach. There's also a difference between training and facilitation. Yeah, and I know on the 4-day program where you guys actually attended together, right? Yeah. The training then, it is like, that's facilitation. You guys are experiencing what it's like to actually build your business, work in teams, be a leader. Things change, things go wrong, and all the rest of it. And there's nothing better, and the only teacher is experience. Oh yeah, Josh, we must have lost Josh. He's coming back in a second. Yeah, so with that said, this whole facilitation thing, it's like you guys all know what's going to happen when it goes wrong. It's going to go wrong. It's so-called wrong, but like, it's not even wrong. I mean, we're labeling it as wrong, but it's not gone wrong. But look, if you sit there and do nothing in life, you're still going to have freaking problems. So you might as well do something that you love doing and build a future and still have problems, but actually you're doing what you love. Yeah, so all is good anyway. Yeah, let's get Josh back in here. Oh, he's gonna get.
Yeah, because I think you said like use the word problems, but I like to sort of just name them as obstacles, because they're not things that we can't get over. And albeit we did face a lot of like new sort of problems or obstacles, and even like say when he was saying like the HMO that had like some rats in it, and that's going on 5-6 months. They come out of the woodwork 5-6 months after a full back to brick refurb. So it's not even like we massively cut corners on this property and just, slap some paint on the walls and then like Bob's your uncle, get tenants in, and just like at such low standards. Like this was a high spec sort of refurb HMO, and it appealed. The rooms went really quickly. So it's almost like these little obstacles will still pop up, even if you do everything right. And then just going on to sort of on top of the problems obstacles that we have faced recently. I mean, the 2 HMOs that were sort of, I think one's just finished the build, one's almost finished the build, and one of them took 18 months to purchase. And that's because after going through like the covenants, going through the conveyancing, it popped up that it was covenants on the property, which is like a restriction saying that on that property specifically was that we can't change it into a HMO. But this then came out from the council after they granted us full planning permission to convert it to a HMO. So it was a bit like, okay, well, where do we go from here then? So again, I think, Josh has done brilliant, because I deal with all the legal side of things, and albeit I don't know why Josh sort of jumped on this side of things with the covenants, and he done really well just to keep pushing, managed to get hold of. If you manage to get hold of a singular person in the council, then you're on to a winner. Like if you just manage to get someone to take accountability for you, because people in the council like to just pass it to the next department and whatever. So yeah, Josh done really well in pushing that through. And then we finally got that sorted. So, and I said in this year alone, we've probably gained about 5 years experience, just what we've been through, just what people don't see that we go through. Like it's all
more than that. Some people won't get this, because they don't take the action, because they're fearful of taking the action, because they take action too slow. Like they don't register the lesson because it's not blatant enough. But when you move forward at some speed, like you guys have been doing, which is obviously what we promote and what we teach, everyone else is saying take your time, you know, and all this rubbish. Yeah, and actually get out there and make it happen. That's when you learn the most, because experience is the only teacher. Other people might claim, say, "Oh, I taught you how to do it." Guys, I didn't teach you nothing.
No.
You know, your experience is what taught you. We just created an environment for you to, you know, be able to move and take forward. That was one of the things that's coming to my mind, is that, you know, why people are always looking for solution and they don't, like, you know, whinge and hate on each other. It's because it's like everyone's been trained to know to live above the line and be responsible. No blaming, no justifying, no going into denial. So it's too blatant for someone to do that. So it's like you just stand out like a sore thumb if you was to go and do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we clashed with the project manager. We would always take accountability if something went wrong. We always found a way to take accountability for our actions, whereas he was very pointing the finger. He would blame the builders, he would blame everyone but himself. And in the end, we had a call with him and said we all need to start taking accountability when things are going wrong. And it's still one of the things he's never done. Whereas we got very good at taking accountability, because everything's easier when you take accountability for when everything goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, also a lot of people make a mistake where like they want it cheap. Yeah, not that like people say, "Oh, I don't want to skimp on quality," but like that subconscious kind of programming of, yeah, I want it cheap. Cheap today don't mean cheap tomorrow. You know, some of my projects that cost me the least in terms of the build cost actually have cost me the most over the time. Yeah, because when things are not done properly and like damp now comes in, which then wallpaper starts coming off, and but the wallpaper ain't so bad. You know what it is? It's the painted walls that's a pain in the freaking ass, man. Like wallpaper is, you can take it off and it's behind the wallpaper, get it done and do it again. But then, you know, with the paint, like, how do you get the paint off and redo that thing? You know what I mean? Like, you basically got to start again. So it just costs more money. Yeah, I had one of mine. I just had to redo the flat roof. Cost me 1,600 notes to get a flat roof done. I'm like, the thing's only 2 freaking years old. I said, I know we have severe weather conditions here in the UK, but come on. Yeah, and they sent me a picture of it, and it's like the material of the thing has wore away. I'm like, this is garbage. You know, again, cheap ain't actually meaning cheap. You know, so I had to read the whole thing in what do they call it? What's that stuff they make the boats out of? What's that called? Carbon fiber? No, that's not what it is.
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's surely that can last the English weather. Yeah. So yeah, cheap today don't mean cheap tomorrow. Yeah. So as we start to, you know, conclude this, then, like, how would you sum up your journey and like turn it into some advice to people who's out there? Yeah. People who's out there thinking, yeah, maybe, you know, I don't like my job, or maybe I want something more out of life. Maybe, you know, I don't believe I can make this thing work because I don't have time or money or whatever. What would you, you know, sum up your experience that would turn into advice?
I would say it's a roller coaster. I think you've got to be prepared to have hurdles that are going to come your way, and you've got to be able to overcome them. Is probably one of the main things I would say. I would also strongly recommend doing it with someone else. You split the risk, you split the rewards, and it's a whole lot more fun. And I think the way me and Corbin have got it is we both know our strengths and we both know our weaknesses. Like, for example, Corbin knows I cannot touch. Yeah, I can't do it. Corbin's taught me so much when it comes to the computers that when I was a welder, I wouldn't have to pick one up. So I went years and years and years without touching one. So we know that Corbin will deal with any emails, all the legal stuff. He deals with that and the numbers. And I'm very good when it comes to sort of working with the contractors, working with builders. So I tend to deal with like the project side of things. So I do like the site visits and make sure everything's on track. So I would say to know your strengths and weaknesses. And if you are on your own, if that's your choice, then I would still outsource your weaknesses. Whether you get a VA to deal with something or whatever you need, I would outsource your weaknesses until you become good at them yourself. I think the biggest player in in our business is social media. I didn't realize the impact it would have on our business. And when it comes to raising finance, it's been absolutely pivotal. And I had a big hurdle, a big mental barrier with social media when I started. And Lewis managed to drill it out of me. And since having the mindset shift and to actually push social media side of things, it's helped the business in terms of raising finance more than I could have imagined. That'd be my roundup.
I love it. Yeah. What about you, Corbin?
Yeah, it's just sort of similar to what sort of Josh has touched on, and I always say the quote from Richard Branson himself, and he just said, "Just say yes now, and then figure it out later." And a lot of the time, 2 years ago, before starting in property and being a part of this community, I know for a fact I would never have done it. I think even buying a ticket to that 3-day event to start the journey, I was umming and ahhing and I was reluctant. And I remember Lewis rung me up like 2 weeks later, and he rung me up and was like, "Oh, have you bought the tickets yet?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I just need some more details, and then I'll do it." And then because I was going to join my friend, and he unfortunately wasn't able to. So then that was my sign. And for the first time in my life ever, I was just like, "Sod it, I'm going for it. Like, this is a sign. I just need to go for it." And I don't, thinking back to that decision, like at that time, like I'm so glad I did. And that was me saying yes now. I didn't know. I've never done, the only thing in property I'd have done before that was buy my flat, but that's not anything on the scale of property investing or doing a refurb or anything like that. So that was me jumping headfirst into an industry that I didn't really have any experience in. I didn't know how to, again, going through the legal stages to buy the flat. I've done that once. I don't have any much more experience in that. I think Lewis said in the comments, certainty. Like, I needed an abundance of certainty before making any decision whatsoever. But yeah, like even now, I'm just like, and Josh touched on social media, even sometimes with stuff that I'm going to post, I always think in the back of my head, like, oh, the little voice comes out, shall I post it, shall I not? And then I think, oh, sod it, I don't care. I don't need to worry about what everyone else thinks. I'm just trying to put my business out there, put my journey out there, what I'm doing, showing people what we're doing, what we're achieving, the obstacles we're hitting, what we're going through, the graph that we're putting in to get to where we want to go. And yeah, again, social media is a big part. And for someone like me who doesn't know, obviously I'm a twin and I was a shy twin, to then gain the confidence through working at Virgin and then gain 10x that confidence through being coached by Lewis, joining forces with Josh, and then being a part of this community has just been like crazy. So yeah, just say yes. Like, if you don't, it doesn't matter if you don't know, as long as you put yourself in the deep end in a community of support that can guide you to where you need to go, then that's all you need, as well as putting in the work, obviously.
I love it. And I remember that virtual program that we did there. Fortunately, now we got the live program, which is more transformational. Did you go to the 2-day? You have been to the 2-day live one? I know, Josh, you just get on.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, so you got to come to that. The next one is in the 2nd and 3rd of February in London. 2024 will be the first one to kick 2024 off. And I'll just put this in the comments right here now. People can get their ticket. Yeah. Check this out. So this is what we want to do. Yeah. We want to offer, there's a number of tickets that are free. Yeah, just totally free. Just put your details in and you get registered. Yeah. Although that doesn't confirm your seat, because sometimes people say I'm coming for free and then they don't show up, and we already turned other people away if we get a large amount of registrations, and then now they missed out as well because the other person didn't show up. So to guarantee your seat, you can literally just pay £1 with a £100 no-show fee, because we want you to have skin in the game, but it's basically £1. Why would we do this for free? Because we want to recruit more awesome freaking people into this community, because this is really what's changing and transforming people's lives. That's number one. We want people to be able to build businesses sustainable so they can provide great accommodation like Josh here and Corbin, but all around our, resorts and our coffee shops and co-working spaces that we're opening up. We want people to be able to deliver great accommodation around there, or even create the coffee shops in the commercial areas that we could rent off you. I'd rent it off you. By the way, guys, if you do that, I would rent that off you. Yeah, to host these locations. But the other thing is as well, like, come and train with us for 2 days and see how much results you can get, because we know the better results we can get you in those 2 days, the more likely you're going to want to become a part of it and want more coaching and want more training and all the rest of it. And I just see us like as a next generation of like a private school. People go to private school and they pay tuition. Yeah, but basically that's just still basic education, where this is real education that makes you a millionaire. Yeah, true or false?
True.
The answer is true.
True.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, anybody watching or listening, wherever you are, go to reallifepropertywealth.com, get your free ticket if there's any left. Guarantee your seat just by putting £1. £1 will change your freaking life. Yeah, that's it. So you guys know, obviously we've got 8 o'clock. We always got our mastermind, yeah, or sometimes it's themed, things. But now it's our mastermind. Oh wow, this is gonna be the last one of the year. Do you know? Since we started in 2018, I think I started doing mastermind. Lewis will tell you. I remember one mastermind I did. Lewis showed up about 8:15, and he said, "Where is everyone?" It was just me and him there. I said, "You're looking at them." Yeah, I remember, like, because we had a bunch of people, and then slowly people drop off. About 5 or 7 people it was, but then Lewis was there at one time. I always remember that. Now we have many people always showing up, right? But this is the first time we're actually missing a mastermind, because next Monday falls on Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
So actually, this is the first time we missed it, because we've always done it in between. Yeah, Lewis, look, I remember that. Yeah, so we have our mastermind, so people will be jumping on that. But to sign off with these guys, Josh, Corbin, you've been totally amazing to have you now on the Game Changers, starting to really get yourselves out there. So great job.
Cheers.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Yeah,
been great to be on here.
Yeah, last question I want to ask you, I want to see if you remember this, is we have a saying in our community, and that saying is that you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Oh,
I should know this. It's on the tip of my tongue. What?
Do the right thing for the right reason. I actually don't know the
Do the right thing for the right reason. Do you know what?
Because that is the only way you are going to discover your true potential.
There you go.
That's the one.
That's what I was about to say.
That's real life, baby. That's real life. Go claim your free tickets, anybody watching right now. And thank you guys for coming on. We'll have you on again soon when you blow it up, going to the 10 million.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks.
Cheers, Mike. Thank you.
We'll see you